Okay, tape's on. My name is Detective Brad Hoover. My badge number is 6188. I'm with the Toronto Police Service Sex Crimes Unit. The time now is 2:05 p.m. We're presently at the Kingston Penitentiary in Kingston, Ontario, in a boardroom, and I think is the main building you would call it. Present in the room here, if I could just have each of you identify yourself for the purposes of the videotape that's being made. Seated to my left off camera and now sitting at the table is your counsel. Just please identify yourself.
Yes, certainly. It's Anthony Bryant.
And straight across the table from me, if you could identify yourself.
Constable Darlene Coulis, C-O-U-L-I-S, badge number 6483 from Toronto Police Service.
And seated to my right, if you could just identify yourself. Please.
Paul Jason Teal, a.k.a. Paul Bernardo.
And again, my name is Brad Hoover, and today is June the 7th, 2007. Mr. Teal, the reason that we're here today is to speak to you in regards to a couple of matters. First of all, before we start, I just want you to make sure that you're aware that what we say is being videotaped here.
Yeah.
I'm just going to start this audio tape. I forgot to do that. I just started this audio tape here. We started the interview at 2:05 p.m. My name is Detective Brad Hoover. Paul, you're not presently being given a caution or anything, and I want you to understand that what you're saying to us today is voluntary. It means if you don't want to talk to us, you don't have to. Your counsel is present, and if you need to speak to him, you certainly can. But I just want to make sure that you understand that what you're saying here is voluntary, and that we're interviewing you as a potential witness. Do you understand that?
Yeah.
Just a little bit of background about the first time we met back last year in April of 2006. That was in regards to a letter that you had sent through the Attorney General's office. It filtered down to my office in regards to some admissions that you made about some sexual assaults that you had committed. I'm here to tell you that I have concluded that investigation, and that there have been 2 offenses that I have been able to identify, and with the information that you provided to me at that time, was able to conclude those matters as having been committed by yourself. So for that, I thank you for that information. And
Sorry. You've identified
the offense. No. I have identified the offense that you were talking about, and based on that information, I was able to conclude those cases that actually provided enough information that I was satisfied that you were the person that committed those offenses.
Okay. Now,
Does that make sense?
Does that make sense? What about ones that you thought that I came forward with and maybe thought that I didn't do it? Was there any of those?
There was none that I thought that you didn't do. There was some that I didn't have enough information to either identify the offense because you were unable to provide enough details at that time, or they may not have ever been reported to the police. As you said when we spoke, some of them were, we'll call them minor type offenses, but
No, I understand.
offenses that may not have been reported to the police.
Okay, problem. I turned on the TV, I waited for Peel Regional to come by. September rolls around, they make a public announcement, it's written on my file here that I lied to police and I did not commit the crimes that I said I committed on the offenses in Peel Region.
Okay.
Big problem.
I have spoken to Peel Region,
Yeah.
and they have told me that they don't have enough information at this point to identify anything that the letter that was sent to the police, or through to the police, wasn't specific enough to identify any offenses. Now, that's something that we can talk about sort of following this interview, and if you want to get into that, we can talk about that.
Well, I've been sitting with this for years, and it's written on my file, and it makes me seem like, oh, he's just this crazy. You guys love doing that. I'm this crazy psychopathic liar. Why was that statement issued? Why didn't they come in and talk to me if they didn't have enough information? We were waiting on that tape. You can play that tape back. I asked you guys, is Pure Regional going to come in? I sat there month after month after month. No one came. I turned on the TV in September. Pure, declared that Paul Bernardo was, this crazy liar to police. What's the fundamental problem here?
Well,
I know. I mean,
I
truth,
can't-
justice, the Canadian way, and no one comes in, and now you guys are saying that you didn't have enough information.
Well, I can't answer for them specifically as to what they did or didn't do. I can tell you that because they're a separate police department, I don't have any control over what investigation that they did do. I can tell you that I have spoken with an investigator in Peel Region, and they have told me that at this point they don't have enough information to move forward. They haven't been able to identify any offense that was specifically talked about.
That statement you're giving me is much different from the public statement they said, which said I was a liar.
Okay, well, I don't.
There's night and day, and they didn't come in. If they didn't have enough information, why don't you come in and get the information? I mean, either I'm lying or I'm not lying. And this goes to the crux of this argument. Either I'm a liar to you, I'm going to lie to you right now about everything, like I did to Peel Regional, according to their story, or I'm not. And, I'm not going to sit here and come voluntarily and have people come. You guys ban me from the press. You roll your stories over, and constantly say that I'm a liar. I'm a liar. I made mistakes 17 years ago. Okay, fine, I did. But now we're talking about today, and you're not going to roll forward that I'm some psychopathic liar sitting in jail claiming other people's responsibilities for other crimes. This is a total cross-examination point. You want to start this thing? Locklear's going to grab a hold of it and say, well, he lied about other crimes. He's a crazy liar. Why didn't you guys resolve this?
And again, I can't answer for what Peel Region did or didn't do.
Jurisdictionally, we're kind of bound as to what takes place.
But still, the good guys, the bad guys. You know what I mean? You're on the same team.
Yes, we are, but
Supposedly.
as far as us investigating matters that take place outside of the actual Toronto proper, that's why Peel Regional has their police service, and like Detective Hoover said, we can't answer as to what they did with their investigations or the issues that they were looking at that transpired out in their area, and we really can't speak to that. Now, whether that's something you wish to have your counsel deal with them on, and that's something else, but unfortunately, there wasn't a lot that Detective Hoover and I could do in regards to those things.
Well,
That's how it leaves
who's
you at a bit
ever
of a loss
watching this
right now.
thing, they should subpoena these guys to Peel Regional. They can bring in all the facts to show just where I lied then, if I'm a liar. That's what I say to do, because either I'm a liar or I'm not a liar, and I'm not a liar. But you guys are trying to paint me as one. The public, according to the public, they turned on the TV in September of last year, and I was this crazy liar. That's what the TV reported, and not only did they report it there, they wrote it on my file. I've got it right myself. Paul Bernardo, Peel Regional said Paul Bernardo lied to police about crimes he didn't commit. Said he did.
Okay.
I mean, that's just awful. I mean, come on.
Okay.
Enough manipulation, you know what I mean? Either you tell the truth or don't, otherwise the whole purpose of any interview is just stupid. Because if I'm this crazy liar, I'll be just sitting here lying to you about everything, right? Right? I mean, why wouldn't I? I'm just this crazy liar.
Okay. And again, I don't know exactly what was said by Peel Region, and I'm not here to answer to what they said. And it's either one way or the
It's
other.
one thing, I'm a human being, and to say that I'm a dangerous offender, going to be raping and killing and all this stuff, it's fine. I mean, for publicity, get that, tough on crime, get that bad guy. But when you go to a certain point of line, it just, it affects me totally. I made mistakes a long time ago. But don't say that today about me, because then we're lying, and then we got a big problem, because I'm looking at you and you're the bad guys. Because I'm not doing anything wrong. I'm telling the truth, and you guys are walking around issuing statements that I lied here, I lied there. No?
Okay.
Well, again, those are statements that were issued by Detective Hoover or myself or
Yeah, I know,
from the
but
Toronto
it's
Police Service, like I
it's
said.
Attorney General who sent you guys down here. He's fighting the case. He's taking this ball bitch back, right? So it's really it's the same organization. Isn't it Attorney General? I see him on TV talking about it.
But this is a separate matter from what those issues were.
But it's still the
last
Attorney
year.
General's office.
Yeah, it very may well be, but like I said, we can't speak to anything that Peel Regional does or statements that they release out to the media because they have things that they were looking at.
It's the same thing. If I'm a liar, take the facts that they have. They can come down and talk to me. Any cross-examine, any defense lawyer can call them up and show me where I'm lying, because you're not going to find it. Maybe there's a minor mistake here and there. I think I had one thing about some driveway being where trees were. Memory over time. But to say that is just ridiculous. Just like you guys didn't go. You guys polygraph Carlin? You asked her about it. Nobody from the Attorney General's went down there. Nobody cared. Again, It's the same, I know, but it's the same problem, because you're making me out to be a huge liar, and this is a problem.
Well, I don't have any doubt as to what you told us before. The facts that I could verify, I believe were true, and from what you've told me, you haven't told me any lies yet, so I have no personal reason to believe that you're lying.
Exactly.
So, again.
Exactly, so, but this was different story than I've got on my file, and
And
it's
again, I don't know what's in your
happened since
file
last time we met.
because I'm not privy to that information or what's there or what's not there. I'm just telling you from my perspective and from an investigative perspective into what I've looked into, to what admissions you made back in April last year. To me, I'm satisfied. I've done what I can do as far as the investigation. If you'd like to provide me with more information about the specific occurrences that occurred in Peel region, then we can talk about that after the focus of what we're here for today. And that's up
But
to
it is
you.
part of the focus.
Well, it
You know,
is.
It is.
It is and it isn't. I mean,
I think it is.
obviously, directly, we're here today to deal with the Bolkovich matter that you're aware of.
But dealing with me, and it comes down to credibility.
Well, it comes down to credibility. Absolutely it does, and that's what we're here to talk about today. And so let's deal with that, and then we can deal with the other stuff afterwards. Is that okay?
No, yeah, go ahead. I'm just making my point on it, because it's going to have to be addressed sometime.
Absolutely it will
So,
be.
and it should have been. We dealt with that a year and a bit ago. So,
Yeah,
well, not quite a year, actually.
a little over a year
Sorry.
ago. I have some questions that were given to me to ask you in relation to the Bolkovich matter, Robert Bolkovich matter. Before we do that, I just want to say, you understand obviously the importance of telling the truth and the consequences potentially of someone who lies to the police and not telling the truth.
I think we just covered that. Actually, I was referring, you guys tell the truth.
Right. Okay, so we're aware of that. And in this matter, I believe that you've had some conversation with your counsel in regards to it. And there has been some discussion about polygraph testing in this matter. Is that true or not true? Do you recall that?
Well, you're opening up cans of worms
No,
everywhere.
I'm just asking you a specific question.
You know, that goes back to you guys polygraphed everyone with the Camaro. You didn't polygraph Carla. And in 2 years since, have you guys gone down there and asked her? Have you settled the matter with it? Because you could say I lied or whatever on polygraph, but have you asked her? Because it comes down to a lot of that issue.
Okay.
You know, I mean, have you asked
let-
her?
let
Has
me-
the Attorney
let
General
me-
gone down there?
Okay, I don't know. Let me tell you a little bit. My involvement with this overall investigation of the Bolkovich is very limited. The only knowledge that I have is as to what investigation has been done or hasn't been done is specifically what's related to the conversations I've had about this interview here today.
Right.
Okay. What other witnesses there are, I don't know.
Okay. In
What
answer
other
to
persons
in
there
answer
are.
to your question, I don't want to go off on tangents, but all these issues are relevant. I know you think they aren't, but they are. In answer to your question is, we had some discussion on it, but when Corcoran from the OPP came down before Carla was released,
Right.
I told him I'd be willing to take a polygraph on anything and everything. Would you, in turn, are you going to go down before you release Carla? Just to ask her. She's not going to take it. She's going to fail on all these issues. Did her hand cause death? Yes, it did. Blah blah blah.
Right.
Did this Tammy happen in July? Was a girl in January actually kidnapped and not somebody I picked up at a bar like she tried to roll over, and all these other issues, all relevant, and so, and then I addressed it to you guys when you came back again last year. I said, yeah, I'll take a polygraph on anything because I'm not telling a lie on the thing. Have you, again, I asked the question, have you guys gone down or, you know, I know Carla's free now. I'm not in the business of putting her in jail. It's not my thing. But my point was, did you ask her the question just so we get the story straight? I mean, if she refuses, well, there's a reason why she's refusing. And again, you guys couldn't provide the answer. And now, almost a year later, again, you don't provide the answer. So, I mean, you know, I don't know what you're asking me. You're asking me to take a polygraph when you aren't willing to ask her?
Well, again, my part of this investigation is limited to what we're saying here today. So the details of all of what other witnesses may or may not have been asked or done, I don't know. And as a potential witness, I'm not allowed to tell you what other people have done. So that I have to sort of be careful about the way that it's answered, or even what you think my answer might be.
Yeah, no, I just wanted for the record that I gave you good information, which you guys could have, independent of me, could have verified my story or not.
Right.
And whether you guys do or do not is your business. Like I said, I'm not a prosecutor. I'm not here to point the finger at anyone, but I showed you where to go. So if you guys don't do that, it's your business. But, you know, to me, it's like, if you didn't, why didn't you? If you want to know the truth about things.
Right.
So,
I understand that, and I understand what you're saying. So, what we're here to talk about today, obviously know that this statement may be used in court or may be presented to court as a voluntary statement.
yeah.
Okay. A polygraph obviously is not something that's court admissible, and I'm not sure if you're aware of that or not, but
Yeah, I
it's not used in court. Okay. So the crust of what we're here to talk about is that it has been suggested that in the continuing case of the disappearance of Elizabeth Bain and the charge of murder against Robert Baltovich, that you are the alternative suspect, or an alternative suspect. Are you aware of that?
Yeah, great.
Did you kill Elizabeth Bain on June the 19th, 1990?
Well, it's a loaded question. I mean, are we going to go back and go through the time sequence of what happened in my life? I mean, I could just give a yes or no answer, but, you know, there's a lot of issues about that.
Right.
You know, the Carlos and my role, who did what, where, when. This is why I said, did you guys, you know, go down there to get a polygraph to see if she was telling the truth? Like, why didn't Bevan do it in the first place? I mean, he's polygraphing everyone with a Camaro. Why would he make a deal with someone and not give them a polygraph? It's not incomprehensible to me. You know, because now my file says her version, and it's a lie. You know, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you know, I'm not making frivolous points here. I mean, and now you're asking me, after you said Peel Regional said I'm lying about this, and then you're saying I'm lying about my profile, you're saying I'm lying if I'm better or not. Now you're saying, hey, did you kill this person? I mean, well, you're saying I'm lying here, here, and here. I could say, no, I didn't. But, I mean, you already said I'm lying here with the Peel. You're saying...
Okay, I'm not saying
No,
anything
but
about who's lying. I'm simply...
and I've given you directions to go to find the truth.
Right.
No one's done that.
And I've asked, and again, I've told you that I've done investigation on information that you've told me, and as a result of that information, I've been able to verify in my mind where you've told me the truth. So if Peel Region is lying about you or someone else is lying about you, I have no control over that, or no...
It goes right to credibility.
Well, absolutely it does, and that's, I guess, the easy way then is to, if we can go through, we'll answer the questions, and yes, I hope to be able to go through some timeline to identify where you were, what you were doing specifically in relation to this case.
Anyways, I know I'm giving you guys a hard time being argumentative about certain things, but I mean, really, I'm a human being, and when you guys do all these things, I've got to. Anyways, I'll try and truncate it a little bit more. But anyways, the answer to that is no. But the 800-pound gorilla in the room that's a life 25 sentence. You know, it really comes down to credibility,
Right.
and not only credibility, but then again, timeline. I mean, between what Carlos and my roles were respectively, and this and that. The answer is no to that question.
Did you have anything to do with her disappearance?
No,
Did you know Elizabeth Bain?
not that I know of.
Had you ever met her?
I'm going to answer that with I don't remember, because if I did or I didn't, I don't remember. But I know an ex-girlfriend tried to say I might have, but like I said, I don't remember.
You obviously are aware of her disappearance.
Sort of.
Okay. Do you recall when you became aware of this?
Best I can recollect is after I was in jail. Didn't follow me as much.
The date, obviously, June the 19th, 1990 was the day.
But you know, other than that, I don't remember. You know, maybe I heard about it before, but I can't recall.
Can't recall.
If I did or not. But I remember in jail, I had newspapers after that fact, and then I saw something on it. So.
Okay. We'll sort of get into that a little bit when we. I hope to go through a bit of a timeline with you as to some things that may jog your memory as to
We're talking.
back in that time. I mean, if you asked me what I was doing 3 weeks ago on Tuesday, I probably couldn't tell you unless you put some reference to it. So we'll hopefully be able to do that. And again, obviously, June the 19th, 1990, do you know what you were doing that day?
I don't know.
I have a document here in front of me that references some points in time around the June of 1990 period from police investigation. This is what indicates you may have been involved with, or may have certain things that you may have done. And I'd like to go through a couple of them that sort of assist you in remembering what you were doing back in 1990. The first part of June 1990, actually June the 1st, Carla had a doctor's appointment where she was complaining of pains in her right side. Perhaps she had something to do with a rabies shot. Does that ring any bells?
No, no, no.
Okay. In the first part of June, you had a Nissan 240 SX, is that correct?
Yeah.
You were making several trips into the United States, June 2nd, June 3rd, June 10th, June 16th. I think at that point you were involved with cigarette smuggling and things like that, from what I recall. Someone said no?
No, that wouldn't be, no, that wasn't until after we moved out, so.
Okay. So, making several trips to the States within a couple of days, is that something?
When we started the relationship, we were going over all the time, so, just for personal reasons. So.
On June the 16th, you shopped at Rough Hewen. That's in the Niagara Falls, United States. Does that store sound familiar to you?
Yeah, it sounds familiar. I have no idea if those are the dates, but
Okay.
if you got a receipt for it.
I think there must be a receipt there. And again, I don't have all the details. I'm just going by what's on this sheet of paper. A black expandable binder. Is that?
I think, can't recall 100%, but.
Okay. That would have been around the same time. That was about a week prior to if you purchased one of those Elizabeth Bain going.
I have no idea when I purchased it. I just
Okay.
recall I had something like that, like an accordion binder type thing.
Okay. June the 16th, again, this has been the same day in St. Catharines, you attended a movie, Back to the Future 3. Do you recall when that movie came out?
No idea.
No? There's a receipt for a cell phone purchased at a Radio Shack at the Town and Country Mall at 6366 Yonge Street. You remember buying a cell phone?
I know I bought a cell phone around that time because when I declared bankruptcy, I handed my other one in. And then I bought the Radio Shack one. I don't know the dates.
Okay.
Whatever the
That
date
would have
is.
been the day after Elizabeth Bain went missing. Is that, do you remember anything you were involved with around that time? You said you were going bankrupt, so what type of activity you were involved in sort of on a day-to-day basis?
The only thing I remember with bankruptcy is that happened around a couple days before the sexual assault that the composite came up with. That was, if I recollect correctly, it was I think 2 days before I filed for that. But I couldn't even tell you that date. I just know it was sometime in. What date did you say that was? June this?
June the 16th of 1990.
When was that sexual assault? The one with the composite? Was it 24th, 20th? What date did you guys have?
There was a sexual assault in May of 1990.
Is that the composite one in May?
I'm thinking that it is, but it doesn't say that specifically here. But shortly after that,
My timeline's off. I don't know.
at the end of June of 1990, that was the original, when someone identified you potentially as a Scarborough rapist, a bank employee.
When was that? The end of?
That was June the 28th of 1990. Lori Homolka's 19th birthday was June the 22nd, 1990. Do you recall her 19th birthday?
No. I know it was around that time, but I don't specifically recall that birthday.
The only reason that one may be significant is she was obviously then a legal drinking agent, perhaps. Did I mean anything?
Way before that.
June the 21st, so just the day after you bought a cell phone, you made a purchase at
I'm sorry, you were
Scarborough.
saying, what, 19th was this girl's?
June 19th was the day she
Yeah,
went missing.
what day did I buy that?
June 20th was the day he bought his cell phone. June
No,
21st.
see, I must have declared bankruptcy around then, because I got that cell phone in the hand. I had to hand all my items in to the trustee, and I had a Panasonic cell phone, and I handed that in, and I got the Radio Shack one. So it would have been
So
right around the same time. I don't think I went a month without it. I don't think so. I might have, but anyways, I don't know.
Yes.
It was a while ago, so memory's a bit fuzzy.
Yeah, May the 29th, which was just before that, or about a month before that, that was the day that the police released the convicts.
Oh, so it was May. So I lost a month.
Yeah, so that was,
See what happens when you lock a guy up for 15 years and a window and stuff. The memory gets fuzzy. So I guess I waited a month to
So-
get the cell phone.
about a month to get the cell phone. Did you recall anything? What were you doing, sorry, during that month, anything?
Probably the same thing it says there, going across the border,
Back and forth across the border.
recreational stuff. I know Tammy happened in July. That was, I think, the third week in July for the first time. But this was back a few weeks before that. So.
Okay.
Yeah, you're right, it was big last. It's hard.
Okay, so just prior to Tammy's birthday, there was some shopping at a Canadian Tire store on
Lori's.
Shepherd Avenue?
Lori's
Or, sorry, Lori's birthday. 2 times in one day, you went to Canadian Tire on Shepherd Avenue, 1019 Shepherd Avenue. Does that normally shop at Canadian Tire stores?
Back then, that time. That's before all these supercenter Walmarts and stuff came in.
Do you ever recall having any conversations about the disappearance of Elizabeth May?
No.
If I played you it's going to play you a short audio clip. It's a conversation that you had, or a conversation between Tony Ward, who was an investigator with the Toronto Police, and Carla Homolka. I'm just going to play this, see if this sounds familiar or if it jogs your memory as to any conversation you may have had.
Was there any discussion, or has there been any discussion ever about Dane's disappearance?
I think the only thing that he ever said about her was that her boyfriend did it, or something like that. But there wasn't any real extensive discussion. But he talked about like all of the women that were disappearing.
And again, that was a conversation between investigator Tony Moore with the Toronto Police Service and Carla Homolka. Does that conversation, was that something you may recall saying that to Carla or talking about that?
Well, she went down, but Paul did it. Catchphrase was the trial, Paul did it. It was Paul. And she's continuing right there. She's going, with the fact of the matter is I didn't pay attention to anything. I didn't watch the news back then. I was too busy doing other things. I didn't pay attention. Like the profile is a serial killer, pays attention to all the news media. This is narcissistic personality, blah blah blah, and all that crap. I don't know anything about this case now. I don't know if this guy did it. I don't really even care. I'm not a prosecutor, do the right thing for society, blah blah blah. I don't know if he did it. I don't have the facts to if he knows if he did it, and I certainly didn't know back then. So to say that for me to make, she's alleging that I made a statement. The boyfriend did it. Well, some cases I have followed because I am in jail and I have nothing else to do but watch TV. But I weigh the facts. I take, like did OJ do it, for example?
Right.
You weigh the facts about whether he did or not. He got off. So I mean that's a lot. But I would have had to weigh the facts. I don't know the facts in the circumstances, so there's no way I can make a statement such as that. How could I say he did it if I don't know the facts of the case? So no, she's incorrect in her statement.
And it may depend on when that conversation took place between between her and the investigator?
Well, War, wasn't he back when the deal was made? And that would, War, if I remember reading the transcripts, that was a name from day one. When she signed her little 12-year deal, no polygraph required. Hey, I'm giving you the truth there. You guys can prove me wrong. Go down there, ask her. You'll get a no. I keep telling you, no one does it. But I don't know why. But so that sounds like a conversation. But that's what you do. You want to blame it all on the other person. You've been painting that scenario. It's like psychopath scenario.
Do you know Robert Volkovich?
Just seen him on the odd time flashed on TV or whatever. Like I said, I purposely avoided this case.
Right.
I don't like this shit in my mind. You know what I mean? Anything to do. Unfortunately, when Carla came out, I watched and tried to discern truth, fact between fiction a couple of years ago. But otherwise, I don't like to get into these things. I've had 100 lifetimes full of this stuff, so, and I don't want my mind poisoned with this and this and this. So in this case, I avoid it as much as possible. But I have seen his face on TV.
Right. Anything else you would like to tell us about this investigation? Okay, the time now is 2:35, and we'll conclude this portion of our interview.